Welcome to Starbound Valor HFY. Subscribe now and dive into daily epic sci-fi adventures where humanity always rises. The night sky over Terrasol was calm when the warning first appeared, a small signal on a monitor deep inside the Central Space Observatory. Dr. Elin Mara, a quiet and careful scientist, was the first to notice it. She leaned closer to the glowing screen, confused by what she saw. It was a star, but different from any star she had ever studied. It was dark, almost black, with a strange pulse around it, like a heartbeat. She checked the system twice, then 3 times. The readings were real. A new object had entered the galaxy, and it was moving fast. She called the others, her voice shaking a little even though she tried to stay calm. Soon the whole room was filled with scientists, technicians, and officers. They stared at the data, and none of them could make sense of it. Stars did not behave like this. Stars did not move like this. And stars definitely did not pulse with cold darkness. In the days that followed, the strange star became the center of every conversation across the planet. People saw the news everywhere. A black star approaches, scientists unsure what it is. Some were curious, some were frightened, but most believed it was far away and harmless. But inside the observatory, fear grew. The black star was not drifting like a natural object. It was adjusting its path, changing direction slowly but clearly. Dr. Elin noticed it first. "It is turning toward us," she whispered, her voice barely heard. General Rax Dern, the military representative, did not want to accept this. "Stars do not aim," he said. "There must be an error." But the data proved him wrong every hour. The object was closing in, and the path was too direct to ignore. Soon, the government ordered emergency meetings. Leaders from every major city joined the discussions. They wanted answers, but there were no answers to give. The black star was silent, cold, and unknown. Even the best space telescopes could not show its full shape. It did not shine like a normal star. It absorbed light instead of giving it. It looked like a hole in space, surrounded by a faint glow of energy that twisted like mist. Some old legends spoke of dark stars, but those were myths told in ancient stories. Yet now one was here. Fear slowly started to spread among people. Some believed it was the end of the world. Others said it was a sign from the universe. But the scientists knew something else. The black star was not slowing down. It was accelerating. One evening, the entire observatory shook with a loud alarm. A new reading showed a massive wave of unknown energy coming from the black star. It was still far away, but the power it released was unlike anything recorded in human history. Dr. Elin stared at the numbers on the screen. Her hands trembled. "If this energy hits us," she said, "it will destroy everything." The room went silent. Everyone looked at the blinking red alert on the top of the screen. General Rax tried to keep control. "We will prepare defenses," he ordered. "We will not panic." But even he knew there was no weapon strong enough to stop a star. Outside, life on Terrasol continued, but only on the surface. Deep down, every person could feel the tension growing. Something was coming. Something huge. Something angry. Scientists from other planets sent their reports too. They had detected the black star's pulse. Every pulse was stronger, faster, and colder. Some experts believed the star was not just moving, it was hunting. The word spread quietly through scientific circles, though no one dared to say it on public channels. But the fear was real. One night, Dr. Elin stayed late, reviewing the data alone. She watched the black star's energy patterns. They almost looked like signals, as if the star was alive in some strange way. She rubbed her eyes, trying to calm her thoughts, but a terrible feeling grew inside her chest. Suddenly the lights flickered. For a moment the screens went dark, then returned with a new message from the deep space sensors. The message was simple, but it froze her completely. The black star had changed course again. It was now coming directly toward Terrasol, its speed increasing at a shocking rate. Elin could feel her heartbeat racing. She knew this was not a natural object. It was something else, something with purpose. She ran to the communicator and called the command center. Her voice cracked, but she forced the words out. "The black star is heading for us. It will reach the system soon." When the message reached the government, everything changed. Sirens echoed through the city. Military ships were prepared. Emergency shelters opened. People gathered in the streets, watching the sky even though they knew they would not see anything yet. Rumors spread faster than truth. Some said the star was a weapon. Some said it was a creature. Some said it was the end of all things. And in the middle of all the fear, the pulse of the black star grew stronger. Each pulse felt like a distant thunder, shaking space itself. Scientists watched in horror as the star's energy expanded across the galaxy like a dark wave. Terrasol had never seen a threat like this. Never faced anything this powerful. And no one knew what the black star wanted. But one thing was clear to everyone, from the highest leader to the youngest child. When the black star finally arrived, nothing would ever be the same. And maybe nothing would survive. The black star entered the solar system like a silent monster, crossing the dark edge of space with deadly calm. Even from a great distance, its presence caused strange reactions across planets and stations. Gravity shifted in small pulses, lights flickered for a second, and communication signals broke for moments at a time. Scientists had expected something unusual, but they were not prepared for this level of disturbance. The moment it appeared on the long-range screens, the entire command center fell silent. The black star was closer now, and its shape looked clearer. It was not perfectly round like a normal star. It looked twisted, uneven, as if something inside it was moving and pushing outward. The glow around it pulsed slowly, like a giant heart beating in deep space. Some people believed it was a natural phenomenon. Others whispered that it was alive. General Rax stood in front of the large holographic screen, his eyes fixed on the star's shadow-like surface. "Why is it so quiet?" he asked. No one answered. The star made no sound. No radio waves. No heat signals. No normal star activity. It was like a dead thing. Yet it moved with purpose. Dr. Elin watched the data scroll across her monitor. She tried to keep calm, but the new readings made her feel cold. "Its energy field is expanding again," she said softly. "And the pull of its gravity is increasing." Already, one of the small moons near the edge of the system had begun to wobble from its path. If the black star came closer, more planets would feel the force. Meanwhile, people on Terrasol gathered outside at night, staring at the sky even though they could not see the star with their eyes yet. They felt something, a strange pressure in the air, a sense of danger they could not explain. Parents held their children close. Old men whispered prayers. Even the animals behaved differently. Birds refused to fly at night. Dogs barked at empty skies. The whole world seemed to sense that something powerful and unknown was coming. Back in the observatory, the atmosphere was tense. Officers moved quickly between stations. Lights blinked red. Messages came in from colonies asking for guidance, asking if they should evacuate. But to where? The black star was approaching too fast, and no one knew its true size or reach. Suddenly a loud alarm echoed through the room. A massive energy spike appeared on the screen. It was coming from the black star. Dr. Elin zoomed into the reading, her fingers shaking. "This is not natural," she whispered. "This is controlled." The energy wave spread across space like dark lightning, invisible to the eye but powerful enough to bend weak metal satellites. A mining outpost on the outer belt reported power failure and strange shadows in the sky before the signal cut off completely. Panic spread through the room. General Rax clenched his fists. "Prepare the fleet," he ordered. "We will create a defensive wall." But everyone knew the truth. No fleet could stop something on the scale of a star. Still, humans were not going to give up easily. Warships launched one by one into the dark sky, forming a line between Terrasol and the approaching threat. Their engines glowed like tiny flames compared to the huge black shape moving through the void. As the ships positioned themselves, the black star released another pulse. This one was stronger, deeper, almost like a sound felt inside the bones. The hulls of nearby ships vibrated. Pilots reported headaches, dizziness, and a strange whispering at the edge of their minds. No one understood what it meant. Dr. Elin studied the pulse pattern. It was repeating like a message. Is it trying to communicate? She wondered aloud. But communicate what? A warning? A threat? A signal to something else? Before she could analyze the wave further, the star's outer glow shifted, revealing shapes inside the dark surface. They looked like cracks, glowing faintly with silver light, stretching and moving like veins. The entire observatory watched in horror. It looked like something inside the star was waking up. It's changing, someone whispered. It's evolving. General Rax felt sweat on his forehead. Keep tracking. We need to know what it wants. But the black star gave no answer. It only moved closer. As it passed near a distant gas giant, something shocking happened. The gas giant exploded, silently, instantly, bursting into clouds of glowing dust. Not even a sound reached the sensors. The room froze. Everyone stared at the screen with wide eyes. Dr. Elin felt her heart drop. Nothing survives its touch, she said. Nothing. The gas giant had been huge, thousands of times larger than Terrasol. Yet it vanished like a candle flame crushed between fingers. The pulse from the black star grew louder, stronger, echoing across the system with slow, terrifying rhythm. Ships in the fleet reported system failures. Lights dimmed. Engines struggled. It was as if the black star was choking the life from everything around it. Terrasol entered full emergency mode. Evacuation drills began. People rushed through streets carrying bags, children, pets. Some cried. Some prayed. Some stared at the sky in silent fear. And high above them, the black star approached like a dark god of destruction. But even in the fear, hope tried to survive. Dr. Elin refused to give up. There must be a way, she said. Something we missed. General Rax nodded, though he was not sure. We will find it, he said. We have to. But deep in his mind, he feared the truth. The black star was stronger than anything humans had ever faced. It destroyed without effort. It moved with purpose. And now it was almost here. As the second day ended, the star's shadow reached the edge of Terrasol space. Every screen in the observatory flickered with its dark energy. And everyone understood one terrifying truth. The real battle had not even begun yet. The black star had only entered the system. And the worst was still coming. The first strike came without warning. One moment the fleet held its defensive line, waiting and watching the black star creep closer, and the next moment a wave of silent darkness swept across space like a shadow storm. It traveled faster than any weapon humans had ever seen, faster than light, faster than thought. When it hit the frontline ships, they did not explode, they simply vanished. Their lights went out, their metal dissolved, their signals died, and in less than a second, 7 warships disappeared as if they had never existed. The command center fell silent as the readings updated on the screens. Red lines blinked out one after another. They're gone, a young officer whispered with trembling hands. All of them gone. General Rax felt a cold shock run through his body, but he forced himself to stay firm. Reform the line, he ordered, but even he knew the order was meaningless. The Black Star's attack had been effortless. Dr. Elin stared at the patterns of the strike, her eyes wide with disbelief. The wave was not energy, not radiation, not heat. It was something new, something that did not match any known law of physics. It was like the star erased reality wherever it passed. It destroys without touching, she whispered. It unbuilds matter. The surviving ships pulled back, but the Black Star pulsed again, sending another silent wave forward. This time, the wave hit a distant colony on a small icy moon named Lumia 4. The moon glowed white for a split second, then turned completely dark. No signals. No life readings. Nothing left. A whole community, families, workers, children, gone in an instant. The news hit Terrasol like a punch. People watched the emergency broadcasts in horror. Some screamed. Some dropped to their knees. Some ran into the streets, begging for answers that no one could give. The world felt smaller, weaker, powerless against the star that destroyed without mercy. In the observatory, Dr. Elin tried to find a pattern. "It is not random," she said. "Each pulse is stronger. Each target is chosen. It feels like it is watching us." The idea made the room go cold. A star should not be able to watch anything. General Rax clenched his jaw. If it is watching, then it knows we are here. That thought filled everyone with dread. Suddenly, a message came through from one of the nearby scout ships. The pilot sounded terrified. "We see movement inside the star," he said. "Something is inside it. Something is shifting." The screen showed a blurry image of the black star's surface. Dark cracks widened, glowing with silver and violet light. The cracks twisted like living things, opening and closing as if the star were breathing. "It is alive," the pilot whispered. And before anyone could respond, the screen turned white and then silent. Another ship gone. Panic spread inside the command center. Officers yelled commands. Screens blinked red. Dr. Elin tried to steady her breathing, but her hands shook as she studied the last signal pattern from the destroyed ship. The pulse had synchronized with the pilot's voice, like the star reacted to emotion. "It feeds on fear," she said suddenly. "I think it grows stronger when we panic." General Rax turned to her, his eyes sharp. "So it is not a star. It is a predator." The idea was terrifying, but it made sense. The black star did not act like a natural force. It behaved like something alive, something ancient, something that hunted worlds. Then came the moment everyone feared. The black star released its largest pulse yet. The entire sky above Terrasol flashed dark for 1 second. The oceans trembled. The buildings shook. Birds fell from the sky. Thousands screamed as the ground vibrated under their feet. Power grids failed across major cities. Darkness spread through streets and homes. And in space, the pulse hit the defensive fleet. Ship after ship flickered out, their systems fried instantly. Only a few vessels survived by pure chance, drifting helplessly with failing engines. Dr. Elin looked at the readings, her heart sinking deeper. "It is learning," she whispered. "It is adjusting to our defenses." General Rax slammed his fist on the table, anger and fear mixing. "There must be something we can do," he shouted. But no one had an answer. The black star moved again, faster now, drawn toward Terrasol like a predator scenting prey. As it approached, the world sky grew dim, as if the light itself feared the star. Children cried. Animals hid. The air felt heavy and cold. Across the planet, people gathered around screens, watching a dark shape slowly grow larger on space monitors. It felt like the end of everything. But even in the fear, small sparks of courage appeared. A group of scientists from another station sent a coded message to Dr. Elin. They believed the black star had a core, a center that controlled the pulse. If the core could be damaged, even for a moment, it might weaken the star. Dr. Elin read the data quickly. It was risky, almost impossible. But it was the first hope they had. She turned to General Rax. "We need a team to approach the star. We need people brave enough to reach the core." Rax stared at her. "You are asking for a suicide mission." She nodded. "But if we don't try, the whole galaxy will die." The room fell silent. Everyone knew she was right. The first strike had shown the truth. Nothing survived the black star's fury. But humans refused to surrender. Humans always fought back, even when the enemy was something beyond stars and shadows. And so, as the black star pulsed again and the world trembled beneath its dark glow, the first seeds of resistance began to form. A mission would be prepared. A team would be chosen. And humanity would face the monster head-on, even if it cost everything. The plan for the ancient weapon began with a whisper. A rumor passed from one desperate scientist to another until it reached Dr. Elin's hands. Deep in the mountains of Terrasol, hidden beneath rock and forgotten technology, there was said to be a device from an old civilization, a civilization far older than humans, one that vanished without explanation. Some believed they were destroyed by a cosmic enemy. Others believed they ran away from something too powerful to fight. But one thing was certain: they left behind secrets. The message Dr. Elin received came from a remote research base that had spent years studying ruins across the galaxy. The base's leader, an old researcher named Professor Hale, claimed they found a map inside an ancient temple pointing to a weapon called the Heart of Dawn. It was said to hold the power to collapse stars or calm them. If this was real, it might be their only chance to weaken the Black Star long enough to survive. General Rax did not trust old legends, but he had no other choice. "If this weapon exists," he said, "we must find it before the Black Star reaches Terrasol." And so a small team of soldiers, engineers, and scientists prepared for the mission. They boarded a transport ship named Horizon Spear, built for speed and stealth. The ship trembled as it launched into the dark sky, leaving behind a world full of fear and hope. As the Horizon Spear traveled toward the mountain ruins, the sky behind them flickered with dark pulses. The Black Star was growing stronger. Its energy waves reached farther with every hour, shaking satellites and bending long-range communication signals. Dr. Elin watched the pulses on her screen during the flight. Each pulse reminded her of a heartbeat, slow and heavy, like something ancient waking up after a long sleep. "We don't have much time," she whispered. When the ship reached the mountain base, Professor Hale greeted them. He looked tired, his eyes filled with fear and excitement. "You are just in time," he said. "The weapon chamber is still intact, but the mountain has begun to shake. The Black Star's energy is affecting everything." He led them into the deep tunnels beneath the mountain. The air grew colder and heavier as they went down. Strange symbols covered the walls, lines, spirals, and shapes that glowed faintly when they passed. Dr. Elin touched one symbol gently. It felt warm, almost alive. "This place is reacting to us," she said. Hale nodded. "These ruins are from the Arcani's people. They understood energy in ways we still don't. They could shape stars. They could build worlds. And now we must use their knowledge to save ours." After hours of walking through long halls, they reached a massive stone door covered in bright silver patterns. Hale pressed his hands against the center. The patterns began to move like liquid metal. The door slid open slowly, revealing a huge chamber filled with soft white light. At the center floated a crystal-like core the size of a human heart, glowing with gentle warmth. The Heart of Dawn. It pulsed softly, as if asleep. General Rax stepped forward carefully. "Can this stop the Black Star?" Professor Hale took a slow breath. "Not stop, but weaken. It emits a counterfield to break star energy patterns. But it must be activated near the Black Star itself." The team went silent. That meant someone had to fly directly into the Black Star's danger zone. A suicide mission. But there was no other choice. Dr. Elin reached out toward the glowing crystal. The moment her fingers touched the air around it, the crystal brightened. It recognized her presence. "It chooses," Hale whispered. "It responds to certain minds." The crystal floated toward Elin, settling gently into her hands. It felt warm like sunlight. "It chose you," Hale said. "You must carry it." Elin felt her heartbeat quicken. She was not a soldier. She was a scientist. But the weapon had chosen her, and there was no time to question why. Suddenly the chamber shook violently. Dust fell from the ceiling. The lights flickered. An alarm echoed through the hall. Hale grabbed a monitor and checked the readings. His face turned pale. The Black Star released another pulse. A large one. "It is destabilizing the mountain," General Rax shouted. "We need to move. Now." The team ran through the tunnels as rocks began to fall around them. The ground trembled with every step. Elin held the Heart of Dawn close to her chest, protecting it from debris. When they reached the exit, a massive crack split the mountain in half. The Horizon Spear's engines roared as the crew rushed aboard. Just as the ship lifted off, the entire mountain collapsed behind them, burying the ancient base forever. Inside the ship, everyone caught their breath, shaken but alive. Elin placed the glowing crystal into a protective case. It pulsed gently, almost encouragingly. "We have it," she said softly. "But now we must use it." Rax nodded, looking out the window at the distant dark shape in space. The black star grew larger every hour. It swallowed starlight. It bent space. And it destroyed anything in its path. The Heart of Dawn might be their only chance. But as the Horizon Spear prepared to return to Terrasol, none of them noticed the small dark shadow that had followed them from the mountains. A drone from an unknown faction. A spy machine. And someone, somewhere, wanted the Heart of Dawn for themselves. As the ship flew into the dark sky, the black star pulsed again, deep and hungry. The real battle was coming. The Horizon Spear raced through space, carrying the Heart of Dawn toward Terrasol, but inside the ship tension grew like a heavy cloud. No one spoke much. Everyone felt the same thing, a strange pressure in the air, a sense that something unseen was watching them. Dr. Elin held the glowing crystal in her hands, feeling its warm, soft pulse. It gave her comfort, but also fear. She still did not understand why it had chosen her. General Rax stood near the window, staring at the distant black star. It looked bigger now, its dark surface twisting with silver cracks, pulsing slowly like a breathing beast. "We don't have much time," Rax said quietly. "We need to get ready for the mission to reach its core." The crew nodded, but they did not notice the small dark drone hiding in the shadow near the ship's engine. The spy machine had followed them from the mountains, sending silent signals to someone unknown. It watched. It listened. It waited. On the third day of travel, strange things began to happen. At first it was small. Lights flickered, screens blinked, and soft whispers echoed in the corridors. The engineers thought it was the black star's energy field reaching them, but Dr. Elin felt something else. She felt cold when the whispers came. Not normal cold. A cold that felt like fear. That night, while the team slept, the spy drone activated. It crawled into the ship's main control room like a small metal spider. It connected to the system, sending a coded message to an unknown ship hiding in a nearby asteroid belt. The message was simple. "The Heart of Dawn is on board. Take it." The next morning, alarms exploded across the Horizon Spear. A ship approached, moving fast, with no ID and no friendly signals. It was sleek, black, and silent. General Rax rushed to the command chair. "Enemy ship detected. Battle positions," he shouted. The crew scrambled as the unknown ship fired electric bursts that shook the Horizon Spear violently. Sparks flew from the walls. Elin protected the crystal as the ship trembled around her. "Who are they?" she yelled. Rax checked the screen. "Rogue faction," he said. "Star scavengers. They steal ancient tech and sell it." The enemy ship moved closer, attaching metal claws to the Horizon Spear's hull. A loud grinding sound echoed through the corridors as the claws dug in. Soldiers grabbed weapons. "They're going to board us," Rax said. A loud boom shook the ship. Then another. Metal tore open. A boarding tube attached to the side of the Horizon Spear. Shadows moved inside it. The scavengers arrived, tall men and women in dark armor, their masks glowing with red lights. They stormed inside, weapons ready. "Find the crystal," their leader shouted. The soldiers of the Horizon Spear fought back, blasters firing in tight corridors. Sparks flew. Walls shook. The ship echoed with shouts and the sound of metal hitting metal. Dr. Elin hid behind a control pod, clutching the Heart of Dawn tightly. It glowed brighter now, as if reacting to the danger. A scavenger spotted her and aimed his weapon. Elin closed her eyes, bracing for the shot, but the crystal flashed suddenly, sending a shockwave that threw the scavenger across the room. Rax saw the blast and ran to Elin. "Stay close to me," he said, pulling her behind cover. The battle grew fiercer. More scavengers boarded, pushing toward the command center. They were after one thing, the Heart of Dawn. "We need to get out of here," Dr. Elin said. "If they take this weapon, they will use it for destruction." Rax nodded. "We need to reach the engine core. We can detach the back section of the ship and trap them inside it." It was risky. Very risky. But they had no choice. The team ran through the ship, fighting as they moved. Several soldiers stayed behind to slow the scavengers down. Explosions echoed through the chambers. Smoke filled the air. The ship tilted as the enemy tried to take control of navigation. When Elin and Rax reached the engine room, the engineer, Mara, was already there. "Hurry," she said. "They're breaking through the doors." Rax helped Elin secure the Heart of Dawn in a protective harness while Mara activated the core sequence. "Once I press this," Mara said, "the back half of the ship will disconnect. Anyone inside it will be lost in space." Elin hesitated. "Our soldiers, they are still fighting back there." Rax placed a hand on her shoulder. His voice was heavy. "They knew the risk. If we don't do this, the scavengers will take the heart." The door behind them shook as scavengers hit it with heavy weapons. The metal bent inward. Mara shouted, "Elin, press it." With her heart pounding, Elin slammed her hand on the console. A loud alarm blared through the horizon sphere. The ship shook violently. The back half detached with a thunderous noise. The scavengers inside it were thrown backward, their ship claws breaking off. The separated section drifted into space, spinning helplessly. Then, without warning, the black star pulsed. The detached section was caught in the dark wave. It vanished instantly, just like the warships before. Silence filled the horizon sphere. The remaining crew stared at each other with shock and grief. Many friends were gone. But the Heart of Dawn was safe. Rax clenched his fists. "We must finish the mission," he said. "We must not let their sacrifice be wasted." Elin nodded softly. She felt the crystal warm in her hands, like it understood what had happened. Through the window, the black star pulsed again, stronger, faster, hungrier. The horizon sphere turned its engines toward it. The mission to reach the core of the black star had now begun. And there would be no turning back. The battle to reach the core of the black star had officially begun as the horizon sphere pushed deeper into the dark heart of the massive celestial object. The ship's engines roared against invisible forces that tried to pull them back into the void, but General Rax and Dr. Elin remained focused on their mission. The crew moved through the narrow corridors, their faces tense with determination and fear. Every step closer to the core felt like walking into the mouth of a giant beast. The black walls around them shimmered with strange energy, and the air seemed thick with power. The Heart of Dawn pulsed steadily in Elin's hands, its warm glow a small comfort amid the cold darkness. As the ship entered the core's outer chamber, the sensors began to pick up strong energy waves unlike anything they had ever seen. The waves pulsed in rhythmic beats, almost like a language waiting to be understood. Elin studied the patterns, her mind racing to decode the strange signals. "It's trying to communicate," she whispered to Rax, who nodded silently. Suddenly, the black star responded violently. Energy surged through the ship like a storm, shaking the walls and flickering the lights. Crew members gripped rails and consoles, fighting to keep balance. The star's defense systems activated, sending out sharp bursts of energy that sliced through space. The horizon sphere's shields flared as they absorbed the attacks. Elin realized the star was not only a destroyer but also a protector of its core. It was alive and fighting to survive. "We must keep pushing forward," she said, her voice steady despite the chaos. The team braced themselves as the ship advanced further, the path narrowing and the energy growing stronger. The Heart of Dawn pulsed in sync with the star's core, illuminating the dark surroundings. Suddenly, the ship's engines faltered. The black star released a massive pulse of energy that threatened to tear the horizon sphere apart. Alarms blared and systems failed one by one. General Rax ordered emergency protocols, but the ship shook violently. Elin held the crystal tightly, focusing all her energy on the Heart of Dawn. Slowly, the crystal emitted a protective glow, shielding the ship from the worst of the blast. The crew felt the warmth spread through the ship, strengthening the shields. After moments that felt like an eternity, the pulse faded. The ship stabilized, and systems slowly came back online. "That was close," murmured one engineer, wiping sweat from his brow. The black star seemed to retreat momentarily, giving the crew a brief moment of calm. But they knew it was only temporary. The core awaited, and with it, the final challenge. As the horizon sphere moved closer, The environment changed drastically. The dark void filled with swirling lights and strange shapes, shards of stars, flashes of energy, and what looked like cosmic storms trapped inside the star. The crew gazed in awe and fear. The star's heart was alive with power beyond their understanding. Elin studied the patterns again, trying to find a way to use the Heart of Dawn. She realized the crystal responded to her thoughts and emotions. The more calm and focused she became, the stronger the crystal glowed. But the star reacted violently to fear or anger. She took a deep breath and steadied her mind. The Heart of Dawn shone brighter, pushing back the chaotic energy. Suddenly, the ship's sensors detected movement within the core. Shadows shifted and twisted like living creatures. The black star was not just a star, it was a being made of energy and ancient power. The crew prepared for a final confrontation. The star unleashed its last defense, a massive wave of destructive energy aimed directly at the horizon spear. The ship's shields flared brilliantly, but the wave battered the hull mercilessly. Systems failed, and alarms screamed through the corridors. Elin's heart pounded as she raised the Heart of Dawn, letting its warmth flow through her. She sang the ancient song learned from the Arcani's ruins, her voice steady and soft despite the chaos. The crystal pulsed wildly, sending waves of gentle light that clashed with the star's dark energy. Slowly, the destructive waves weakened. The black energy retreated. The star's pulse slowed from a fierce roar to a gentle hum. The ship stopped shaking. General Rax looked at Elin, awe in his eyes. "You did it," he said quietly. "You calmed the black star." But Elin knew this was only the beginning. The star's core began to change, the darkness fading into soft light. The Heart of Dawn connected with the star's energy, forming a bond of peace and understanding. The black star was no longer a force of destruction, it was becoming something new. As the horizon spear prepared to leave, the crew felt hope for the first time in weeks. The mission was a success, but the universe still held many mysteries and dangers. Elin held the Heart of Dawn close, knowing this was just one battle in a long journey. The story of the Black Star had changed forever, and so had humanity's place among the stars. The shuttle moved through the silent darkness as Commander Rian, Dr. Lyra, and the soldier Kale floated inside the narrow cabin, each feeling the weight of what waited ahead, and as they neared the Black Star the alarms of every scanner stopped because the signals were no longer able to read anything, and a cold fear grew in Rian's chest, but he pushed it down because they had come too far to turn back. And the shuttle slid into a huge crack on the surface of the Black Star, a crack that looked like a wound that had never healed, glowing with a weak red light like blood beneath stone, and inside they saw long tunnels twisting in strange patterns as if made by something that understood geometry differently, something that did not build but shaped space itself. And Rian whispered that the structure felt alive, and Lyra agreed because the energy here moved like breath, slow but massive, and deeper inside the tunnel the walls changed color, shifting from black to dark silver, as if metallic skin covered the passage, and shadows moved even though there was no light, and Kale tightened his grip on his rifle because he felt like the walls watched them, studying them, waiting for something, and then they reached a huge chamber, larger than any space they had ever seen inside a ship, and floating at the center was a giant sphere, bright white with lines of gold running across it like veins of light, pulsing in steady rhythm. And Lyra gasped because she knew this was the core, the heart of the Black Star, the place where all its power lived. And she also knew that if this thing woke fully, the destruction would be beyond imagination. And Rian slowly stepped closer, but a deep humming sound filled the chamber, shaking the air, shaking their bones, and fading into their minds like a whisper that none of them understood. And then images flashed inside their heads, fast and violent, entire worlds burning, fleets vanishing in moments, and then a strange shape appearing. Again and again, a huge shadow with many limbs reaching forward as if feeding on the fire, and Lyra trembled because she understood the message. The Black Star was not the monster, it was the weapon built to fight the monster. But something had gone terribly wrong long ago, and the weapon had lost control, turning against everything because the creator had failed to lock its purpose, and Kale shouted that the core was reacting to them, glowing brighter, lines of gold stretching like branches, reaching toward them, and Rian told them to move back, but the energy grabbed the air around them, pulling like gravity but stronger, and the three of them were dragged closer even as they pushed away, their boots scraping uselessly on the smooth floor, and Lyra cried out that the core was reading their memories, trying to understand them, searching for something that could shape its purpose again. Because maybe it was not fully alive but not fully machine either, trapped between thinking and obeying, and Rian felt sharp pain in his head as more visions hit him. Flashes of the first builders of the Black Star, tall beings with glowing blue eyes working with tools made from light, speaking in tones that shook mountains, and then a giant crack forming on their planet, followed by a shadow rising from it, and everything ended in white fire, and the Black Star was sent away alone with no one left to guide it, doomed to wander and destroy, hoping to find orders that never came, and when the visions ended, Rian fell to his knees, gasping, and the core stopped pulling them, shaking as if confused, its glow unstable like a dying star, and Kale asked what they should do because if this thing exploded it would take half the galaxy with it, and Lyra said they had to speak to it, not with words but with intention, because the core understood emotion faster than language, and Rian, still struggling to breathe, placed his hand on the air just inches from the bright sphere and thought of home, Earth, the people waiting for them, the hope they fought for, and then he thought of peace, of life, of protecting instead of destroying, and slowly, very slowly, the pulsing light calmed and the chamber grew warm with gentle energy, and Lyra joined him, thinking of creation instead of death, showing the core what humanity valued, and Kale forced himself to picture something he never admitted he wanted. A life where war was not the only thing he knew, and the core glowed brighter but not wild like before, softer, warmer, as if accepting their intention, and then a deep voice echoed in their minds, a voice not human but calm, saying that it understood their purpose and would try to shape itself to it, but it warned that its original program was not fully gone and the shadow it was built to fight was still out there somewhere. And Rian felt cold fear because if the shadow was real then the destruction the Black Star had caused was only the beginning of something far larger, and before he could ask anything the entire chamber shook violently as alarms rang in the shuttle outside, and Kale looked at the scanners and shouted that a huge wave of unknown energy was heading toward them from deep space, larger than anything they had ever seen, and Lyra whispered that the shadow had found them at last. The air inside the ruined command chamber was thick and heavy, almost like the walls themselves were holding their breath as the survivors stepped inside. Captain Riker looked around slowly, his eyes narrowing when he saw the strange black marks on the floor and walls, marks that looked like something had burned reality itself. The others followed behind him, silent and tense, because they all felt something here, something cold and watching. Eris walked forward first and held up her scanner, but the device only made a soft clicking sound and then failed completely, its screen turning dark as if something had sucked the energy out of it. She tried to restart it but nothing worked, and she looked at Riker with a frown that carried fear. "The Black Star was here," she whispered, and those words made everyone freeze. Outside, the storm made by the collapsing star field still roared in the distance, but in this chamber everything felt strangely quiet, like the universe had muted itself. Riker told everyone to stay close and to touch nothing, but the room seemed to pull them deeper with every step. On the far side was a broken panel glowing faintly with a soft red light, and Riker moved toward it with caution, feeling like someone was standing just behind him even though he knew no one was there. Eris stayed close, watching the shadows that seemed to bend the wrong way. When Riker reached the panel, he found a damaged console, half melted and half untouched, as if reality had been rewritten unevenly. Only one message remained on the screen, repeating again and again in a weak flicker, "The Echo is here." Riker whispered the words aloud, and when he did, the faint red glow pulsed once, as if reacting to his voice. The pulse made a low vibration move through the room, something so deep that it felt more like a feeling than a sound, and the crew stepped back automatically. Lieutenant Mara raised her weapon, but even she knew it would not help. Suddenly, the chamber's temperature dropped so fast that their breath became visible, and a chill spread along the metal floor like frost made of darkness. Eris stepped back and her boot hit something that rolled across the ground. When she looked down, she saw a small recording device, cracked open but still blinking with a small blue light. She hesitated, then picked it up carefully, and to her surprise it activated by itself, projecting a weak hologram in front of them. A figure appeared, an alien officer from the station, shaking, terrified, speaking quickly as if time was running out. "If you are seeing this, then you must listen," the hologram said, its voice trembling. "The Black Star does not destroy. It consumes, but not the way we understood. It leaves something behind. A shadow, an echo of everything it touches. And the echo learns. It follows." The hologram flickered as the officer looked over his shoulder in panic. "We tried to run. We tried to hide. But the echo is already inside the systems. It The image distorted and twisted into a blurred shape before cutting off completely. The room went silent again. This time the silence felt alive. Riker and Eris exchanged a look that held both fear and understanding. The Black Star had not only passed here, it had left something behind. Something that could still move, still think, still hunt. And now they were standing in the same space it had learned to inhabit. Suddenly, the door behind them slammed shut with a loud metallic crash, and the lights above flickered wildly. Mara rushed to the door and tried to open it, but the panel sparked and died. The shadows in the corners of the room shifted, stretching slowly as if waking up. A low hum filled the air, the same hum they heard before the first blackout. Riker shouted for everyone to form a circle and stay back to back. His voice echoed strangely, repeating a second later like someone else was speaking the same words from a different place. The echo was here. The lights flickered again, but this time they did not fully return. Instead, the room was lit only by the weak red glow of the damaged console, and in that dim light, the shadows began to move on their own. Eris raised the hologram device again, hoping it might show more, but instead it projected a strange distorted image that was not the officer. It was the crew. Their shapes, their movements, but delayed by a heartbeat, as if the shadow world was watching them and mimicking them. The hologram flickered faster and faster until the shapes no longer matched the crew. They became taller, darker, stretched into unnatural forms with glowing white eyes. The device shut off violently, as if something had crushed its power from the inside. The shadows around them stopped moving. Then they all shifted at once. Toward the crew. Riker's voice was low but steady when he spoke. "Do not run," he said. Echoes chase movement. But it was already too late. The shadows lunged, and the chamber screamed with light as everything was consumed in darkness once more. The Black Star moved like a hungry shadow across the battlefield, and every ship in its path felt the weight of its silent rage. The humans watched from the command deck as the giant sphere of dark light expanded and twisted the space around it. Captain Mira stood at the center of the room, her hands gripping the railing so hard her knuckles turned white. She knew this moment would come, but she never imagined the fear would feel so real. The alien armada, once proud and loud, was now trembling as their ships drifted backward, breaking formation in panic. Even their warlords, who once claimed they feared nothing, were sending desperate messages across the comms. Their voices cracked, their orders fell apart, and their courage melted like ice under fire. Mira turned to her crew and spoke in a calm voice, even though her heart was racing. She said they were entering the final stage, the moment where everything would be decided. No more warnings. No more waiting. The Black Star was fully awake now, and it was not just reacting to threats. It was hunting. As the tremors in space grew stronger, John kept his eyes fixed on the energy readings. He reported that the Black Star's power was rising at a speed that looked impossible. The numbers were breaking every known limit. No human weapon could rise that fast. No alien technology could even understand it. This was something new, something alive, something far beyond anything the galaxy had seen before. The alien command ship tried to fire a massive plasma strike, but the beam bent in the air like a ribbon and was sucked into the Black Star's surface without leaving a mark. The warlords gasped as they watched their strongest weapon disappear like a drop of water in the desert. The shockwave from that failed strike shook the battlefield, and several smaller alien ships crashed into each other. The fear spread like wildfire. One alien captain shouted that they must retreat. Another screamed that retreat was impossible. Their arguments turned into chaos, and the humans could hear everything through leaked radio channels. Mira knew this was their chance. She ordered the human fleet to move forward in a bold formation. It was dangerous, but it would send one powerful message: humanity was not running. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was ready to face the storm head-on. As the ships advanced, the Black Star responded. Its dark surface rippled like a sea under a strong wind. A deep pulse spread outward, shaking every ship, every engine, every heart. But this time, something strange happened. The pulse did not destroy the humans. It passed around them, like the Black Star was protecting them instead of attacking. The aliens noticed and panicked even more. They screamed that the humans had bonded with the monster. They shouted that the humans were controlling it. They said humanity had become a threat that must be erased from existence. Mira listened and felt both fear and pride. She understood something important. The Black Star was choosing a side. It was not a weapon. It was a guardian. A guardian with infinite rage for anyone who threatened its chosen species. And right now, humanity was the species it had chosen. But that did not mean they were safe. An energy surge burst from the Black Star and sent a rush of gravity waves across the battlefield. Alien ships twisted, cracked, and collapsed under the pressure. Entire fleets broke apart in seconds. Space filled with flashes of exploding hulls. The humans watched in silence as their enemies were erased one by one. No human fired a shot. The Black Star was doing everything alone. Yet Mira felt uneasy. She whispered to herself that too much power was dangerous, even when it protected you. She feared what the Black Star would become after the war. She feared what humanity would become standing beside it. John heard her and asked what they should do. Mira did not answer immediately. She looked at the Black Star glowing like a dying sun, its dark light turning brighter as if it were reaching a new stage of existence. She wondered if they could guide it, or if it would guide them. She wondered if they could control it, or if one day it might control them. The alien warlords made a final desperate push. They sent every remaining ship toward the Black Star in a suicidal attack. Hundreds of ships lit their engines and flew like a giant burning wave. Their goal was simple: hit the Black Star hard enough that it might fall. Mira shouted for her fleet to pull back. She wanted no human ship caught in that madness. The aliens closed in fast. For a moment it looked like their plan might work. Then the Black Star opened for the first time. A single glowing crack appeared across its surface, like an eye opening in the darkness. And from that eye, a beam of pure, silent destruction shot forward. It was brighter than any star, quieter than death itself. When the light faded, the alien fleet was gone. Not broken. Not burning. Gone. Erased completely. The humans stood in total silence as they watched the battlefield become empty. The Black Star floated peacefully again, as if nothing had happened. Mira whispered, "This is only the beginning," because she could feel it. The Black Star was changing, growing, becoming something else. And whatever came next, the galaxy would not be ready. The final moments approached with quiet dread and fierce determination. The horizon spear edged closer to the heart of the Black Star, a place no human had ever dared to reach. The black surface twisted and shimmered, full of cracks glowing with eerie silver light that pulsed like a strange heartbeat. Inside the ship, the crew held their breath. Dr. Elin clutched the heart of dawn, its warm glow stronger now, as if it knew this was the moment it had waited for. General Rax stood by her side, his face set with grim resolve. "We have come too far to fail now," he said softly. The ship's engines strained, pushing through invisible waves of energy that tried to push them back, to tear them apart. Lights flickered, and the walls shook as the Black Star fought against their approach. But the horizon spear moved forward, cutting through the dark storm. Suddenly, the ship's sensors detected a massive energy field ahead, a barrier that pulsed with the full power of the star itself. The crew exchanged worried glances. To pass this, they would need to activate the Heart of Dawn. Dr. Elin prepared the crystal, focusing all her thoughts on it. The warmth spread through her fingers as she began to hum softly, an ancient song learned from the Arcani's ruins, a song said to calm storms and bend light. The Heart of Dawn pulsed brighter and brighter, sending waves of gentle energy outward. The barrier flickered. For a moment, it seemed the darkness might break. But then the Black Star pulsed back, stronger and louder, sending a shock that nearly threw the ship off course. The battle between light and dark raged in the silence of space. The crew held on tightly, struggling to keep control. Slowly, the barrier cracked. A path opened. The horizon spear surged forward, entering the glowing core of the Black Star. Inside was a place of wonder and terror, an endless void filled with swirling energy, stars forming and dying in seconds, strange shapes moving through the light and shadow. Dr. Elin felt a strange connection, as if the star was alive and aware of their presence. The Heart of Dawn's glow matched the pulse of the star, like two hearts trying to beat together. But the star was angry, wild, and full of pain. It wanted to destroy, to consume, to end. Elin closed her eyes, thinking of her home, of the people who had lost everything. She focused all her will on peace, on calm, on hope. The crystal's light grew softer, warmer, and spread like a gentle sunrise inside the star's core. Slowly, the darkness began to fade. The silver cracks healed. The pulsing slowed, changing from anger to calm. The black star's roar turned into a soft hum. General Rax watched in amazement. "It's working," he whispered. "We are calming the storm." But even as the star grew quiet, the ship shook violently. The black star's final defense, a massive wave of energy, rose to push them away forever. The crew braced for the worst. The Horizon Spear's shields glowed bright as the wave crashed against them. Lights flickered, alarms blared, but the ship held firm. The Heart of Dawn shone like a beacon, its power protecting them all. When the wave passed, the star was still. Peace filled the void. The crew sighed in relief, tears flowing freely. They had done it. They had calmed the black star. As the Horizon Spear slowly turned away, the star's surface began to change. The dark, broken shape grew soft and bright, transforming into a shining orb of golden light. It rose into space like a new sun, warm and full of life. Messages came from distant colonies and planets. The destruction had stopped. The sky was clear again. Hope returned to the galaxy. On the ship, Dr. Elin held the Heart of Dawn close. She knew this was not the end. The universe was full of mysteries and dangers. But humanity had faced the impossible and survived. General Rax smiled, tired but proud. "We saved more than just a world," he said. "We saved the future." As the Horizon Spear made its way home, the crew looked at the new star in the sky and felt a quiet promise. A promise that light could come even from the darkest places. That courage and hope could change the fate of the galaxy. And that no matter how deep the shadows, humanity would always fight to bring the dawn. The story of the Black Star was over, but the story of those who faced it would live forever.